morning, yogis. Let's begin in a comfortable seat for a moment, just to land here in our bodies, connecting sits bones to earth, lengthening up through crown of head. You could even close your eyes for a moment, just to gather yourself, to center yourself, embody yourself. Notice how you're feeling in your physical body, your mental body, emotional body, your breath body. And then connect your awareness to the breath. Allowing it to deepen, smooth and easy. So this sequence will be similar to what we did on Tuesday. We're going to add a few other bits in the beginning. And as we move, some of the movements will be very slow. Remember to extend the breath even beyond the movement. So that'll be one of our goals today. So we're moving with awareness, adjusting to suit your body, focusing on our feet, knees, legs in general. Right. So it's always really good to focus on the feet, to awaken the feet and really enhance that connection to the earth for our physical yoga practice, of course, and then our moving around in the world. So it's really good to be barefoot. Fortunately, in yoga, we're barefoot. It's good to try to be barefoot as much as you can. And so let's focus on our feet right now, and we'll extend one leg, and then you can bring the other leg across like a figure four shape. And then whatever foot that is, let's just awaken the foot. Just kind of give it a little squeeze, and give it some massaging. You can do some rotation with the ankle because it's kind of hanging off here. This could also be done seated in a chair anytime. Good. And because often, especially this time of year, our feet are kind of cooped up in shoes, they get a little stiff, particularly our toes. So we're going to awaken our toes right now. So now bring your fingers in between the toes. See if you can bring each finger, so your pinky in between the pinky toe and the next toe, and then all the way up. So all four fingers are around the toes, and see if you can get the, kind of the crease of your fingers into the crease of the toes. So get them in as deep as you can. Good. And then you could squeeze the toes together and your fingers together and the toes together, and then open up your fingers wide and draw your toes apart. So you could do that a few times, like squeeze and then open. Good. Get some space between the toes. Often when we're in poses, I say, spread your toes wide. See if you can see mat between the toes so that you help to widen your feet and have a more stable base. So do that a couple of times. Keep going. And then you could curl the toes in one direction and then the other direction. So the flexion of the toes. Good. Nice. And then after that last round, squeeze the toes together with your fingers. Squeeze your fingers together, your toes together, and then start to wiggle the fingers out from between the toes. So pull, 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 pull to kind of get like a little stretching your toes out, and then pull them out and give your foot a nice pat, a squeeze, the massage. Good. And notice how it feels now. Maybe a little tingly, more alive. Maybe you feel this foot more than the other foot. So then you can release that leg and let's focus on the other one. So start just giving it some loving. We don't pay attention to our feet very much. Give it some squeezing, maybe even some rotation to the ankle. We will focus more on the ankle, as we know. Good. A few times like that. And then we'll get into our toes, really stiff. So just, if this is really uncomfortable, do your best. Or if you really love this, this is something that you can do all the time. You could even bring your legs together like Baddha Konasana and interlace your toes together, like this. That's a little yogi trick. So something to practice. All right, so get your fingers in there between the toes as best you can. Hopefully all the way, almost like you do it with your hands. And then squeeze the fingers and toes together, open the fingers and toes apart. And squeeze and open and squeeze. Ooh, and notice how that feels. It might feel. Good. And this next time you could add flexion. Ooh. And then maybe one more round of that. And then bring the toes to neutral, squeeze the fingers and toes together, and then start to wiggle your fingers out, but pulling. So you're kind of pulling on the toes. Pull, 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 and then pull your hand out. And finally, give your foot one more pat or squeeze or massage. Good job, foot. You're awake now. Wait till we start to balance. We're gonna do super balancing today now with our newly awakened feet. So notice how that foot feels. Now we'll turn on our backs and we'll do a little sloshing to start to wake up the ankles, the calves, even the upper leg. So come onto your back. Good. All right, so remember what we do here is we'll plant our flexed feet, so pointing the toes, dorsiflex the feet, so do the flexion as much as you're able to. Just point, like it hold, and then dorsiflex, all 10 toes come back, you're extending through the heels. So go back and forth like that. And then there'll be an option. You could just do it continually with your breath, or you could do it on breath cycles so that you could inhale, neutral, taking a pause, and then exhale, extending the exhale for as long as you're able. So keep it slow and measured. Do that flexion, the sloshing that whole time. And then when you complete your exhale, pause, take your inhale. This gives a little break in the movement, and then exhale and do the sloshing. So as you're doing it, don't get too caught up in the jiggling movement. Really make sure you're going to that end range, and then pause, inhale, and do your fullest range of motion here. But your body will jiggle, so it's starting to wake up the whole body as well. One more time, inhale, and then exhale. And then pause. And notice. Maybe you notice it in the front of your shins, your shins, the fronts of your legs. Dorsiflex your feet, bring your big toes together, and let's do some rotation here. So find the biggest rotation that you can. So you're kind of rolling over your heels like we did in the first movement. But go to your fullest range of motion. Okay, and the other direction. So this is really good too for our ankles because they don't get enough working or challenging. I mean, unless maybe you ski, but a lot of times in our regular movement, we don't, in our regular exercise routines. So one more round, and then pause and notice how that feels. I feel warmth. The bottom of my legs feel warm. Let's get the rest of our body warm. So you can bend your knees, plant your feet on the earth, and then maybe roll to one side. So because we're in the flow of our practice and we're not in our cool down mode, I might suggest that you roll to your left side, come into your tabletop, Bring your hands a little farther forward of your shoulders, curl toes under, send hips to sky. Now find any kind of movement that you want right now. You might want to pedal your feet after that work to stretch out the calves. You might want to sway, side to side a little bit to get some side bending. You may even want to add spinal undulations. Movement. And then when you're done with that, then settle in. Now in our dog pose today, I'm going to encourage us to extend our legs as best we can, as much as we're able, and to engage the fronts of our legs. So grounding your hands, head between your arms, inner arms are, spinning forward, lifting hips to sky. Okay, now see if you can engage your quadriceps, especially, the muscles around the knees. Press the knees backwards, so you're straightening your legs as much as you can, and let your heels descend. Your belly's toned, your hips are lifting, but focus on strengthening, engaging the fronts of your legs. And when you do that, the backs of your legs will relax. We usually, I think, focus on the back of our legs, our hamstrings in this movement, but see if you can focus on the fronts, engage the front. Take a few breaths here. One or two more times. And then let's look up toward our hands. You can walk your feet toward your hands. Come into a standing forward fold. Rise up halfway. Exhale and fold. And then we can bend our knees, lift our chest. You can even bring your hands onto your hips. So you'll come up with quadricep engagement again, even firing up the glutes. Press the earth away to rise up. That's a really great way to strengthen your legs anytime you come to standing, even if you come out of a chair. Really plant your feet, maybe even shift your weight forward to use your legs to rise you up. All right, so the calf strengthener, which is also a balance challenge. So maybe get your blanket, or you could even stand on a wedge if you had one, stair if you had one, and maybe have a chair or a wall handy if you need a little extra help with the balance. But this will be good for your balance as well. We'll just do a round of three. Three in 3 rounds. So 3 rounds of 3. Okay. So put your right foot onto your wedge or your blanket so that the ball of the foot is elevated, a fair bit, and your heel is on the earth. Then you can bend the left leg, give a little tone to the belly, maybe find a drishti, maybe hands on your hips even, or maybe the hand on the wall of the chair. And then start to lift the right heel as much as you're able, coming onto the ball of the right foot, and then lower it down. And a couple times like that. So find your balance here. Rise up and lower down, and rise up and lower down. You can pause for a moment and do another round of 3, or you can keep going. Keep the big toe mound grounded. That is actually the trick in our balance poses anyway, to keep that toe mound down. And a few more. Again, just do 9 if you can, and then pause. Because it is really nice sometimes to do a short set, pause, recover, and then go for it again. All right, so the other side. When you're ready, rise up and down, noticing the difference from one side to the next. Pausing between after 3 if you like. Again, recovering, especially if you're a little sore from Tuesday. And Maybe a couple more if it feels good. And then pause. Good. All right. Last round, both feet. Okay. So, adjust your blanket if you need to, if it's getting a little compressed. Heels around the earth, and then rise up onto the balls of your feet, and then lower down. It's easier to do with both feet, isn't it? Keep the big toenails grounded, always. Oops, and again. And last time. And release and shake it out. Good, yeah, just give it a shake. Shake that out. Give it a pat if you need to. If that was a little too much, you could always give it a little pat. All right, so let's warm up our spine a little bit. Let's do some spinal undulations before we move. So there's a couple ways we can do our cat-cow so many different ways, right? Seated, table, and we did this at Utkatasana on Tuesday, which that'll be an option. But you can even do it standing. You can kind of just wave your spine like a snake if you want. You can just do some nice spinal undulation. So if it feels of interest to you to just wave your spine, bend your knees, kind of take that extension. So there's your cow, and then find your cat back, and then find your cow, maybe getting your head into it as well. So see if you can move your whole spine. And if that's a little challenging for you, you feel like you're not getting your fullest range of motion, then maybe keep your knees bent, plant your hands on your thighs or just above your knees and take your cat-cow here. Because maybe having that pressure, the feedback of pressing on your legs is helpful. So a few more rounds wherever you ended up. Just mobilizing our spine this morning. And then bring that to stillness. And notice how you're feeling. And noticing if you're ready for another round of leg work. All right, so what we're going to do now is we will bend our knees. So like you're going into Utkatasana. Keep your hands on your hips. And then shift your weight to the balls of the feet. Lift your heels. And then press the earth away. Rise up, extending the legs. And then lower the heels. So 2 more times like that. Bend your knees. Make sure you can see your toes. But keep your torso upright. Shift the weight towards the balls of the feet. Lift your heels a little or a lot. And then pressing the balls of the feet into the earth. Rise all the way up. And then lower down. And last time, like this, bend the knees, lift the heels, rise all the way up, and then lower your heels. Now let's do it reverse. Let's lift our heels, and then bend our knees, and then lower the heels, and straighten the legs. So when you're ready, lift your heels, bend your knees, and kind of, again, keep the torso upright. I just a little wobbled, it's okay. And then lower your heels, and with your strong legs, straighten your legs. Last time. So lift the heels, forgot which direction we did it in. Bend the knees, lower your heels, and then straighten your legs. And now you can release your arms by your side. Let's turn this into a balance pose. Now let's lift our heels. You can stay here with your arms by your sides, or maybe you're going to send your arms to the sky and staying here, turning this into a little bit of a balance challenge. Pressing the balls of your feet down, toning your belly, lengthening through the torso, relaxing your shoulders. If you roll out of the pose, that's okay, just roll back in. And the trick is the big toe mounds. So see if you can keep them grounded to the earth. Doesn't matter how high you lift on your heels or how much you lift your heels. Smooth, easy breaths. 2 more. Last time. And then exhale and slowly lower your heels, lower your arms. And notice how that feels. Now let's just do a little movement of our ankles. So you can come onto the left foot, keep that right leg back and roll around the foot. Just roll around your toes, your ankles. Maybe even getting more of rotation than we did in either of the 2 movements already. Go in both directions. If this is too much, again, on the toes, especially if they're tight, you could always just have your foot, your knee bent and your foot on like on your toes like a little ballerina and just add some rotations this way. So maybe that's helpful to not mush around on the toes. So whatever feels comfortable for you, plant that foot and then do the other side. Nice. To train our ankle laterally in all the directions. Go in both directions. Good. Nice. And then pause and notice how you're feeling. All right. So now let's get ready for some standing poses. We're going to move our blanket out of the way. I don't think we need that anymore. And we'll do something that's a strengthener for our legs. So let's see. I am going to, let me just see if I, yeah, okay, that's good. I'm going to start on my left leg because I'll be picking up the right leg. So we'll do a quadricep strengthener. So this is the intention. We'll just be extending the leg. Now you could do this on a chair, like if this is really helpful for you, maybe not in this practice per se, but you could. You could do this anytime. You're sitting in a chair, you know, as long as it's, you know, maybe well positioned with your knee in line with your hip and maybe the seat of the chair kind of supports the whole back of your leg. Then you could sit and extend and then bend, keeping your foot dorsiflexed. All right, so that's what we're going to do here in our balance pose. So you can have your hands on your hips, a hand on the wall, or hands underneath your hamstring for support. Give a little tone to the belly, really dorsiflex your foot, and then extend and bend. Now, if you want, you could even plantar flex when you bend, whatever feels comfortable for you. But really focus on engaging the muscles around the knee when you extend that foot. Really bring the toes back and then bend. So make this really slow. And then bend, belly toned, and then extend, and then bend. And how about 2 more? And last time. Now, keep the leg bent, send the leg back and hinge forward. So we're going into a warrior 3. You can get your blocks if you want to support it. So hinge forward, make your T, whatever your T looks like today, then extend the leg out. Draw the hip down so the hips are square, inner thigh spins upward, toes point down. Hands could stay on hips, could reach back towards the foot, could come to your heart, to Anjali Mudra, up to you. Now find your balance, and then when you're ready, bend your standing leg. Bend it, bend it, bend it. And then press the earth away and rise up. How about a couple times like that? Bend the knee. And then rise up. And a couple more. Bend as much as you're able and rise up. And oops. And one more time. Bend and rise up. And then this last time, as you bend, lower the back foot, release your arms, Virabhadrasana 1. All right. And so find your warrior one stance. Widen your feet if you want more balance, knee over the ankle, the front knee that is. And then the back leg is straight for a moment as we square our hips. Let's bring our hands down onto the front thigh. And then we're going to bend the back leg, or you can keep your hands on your hips. So we want to keep our torso upright. So mind that. Bend the back leg, maybe a little bit. Maybe you're going to tap it all the way down to the earth and then rise it back up. And then lower the back leg just a little, or maybe a lot, and then straighten that back leg. So firing up the hamstring, working the quadricep. A couple more times. Bend and straighten. And bend and straighten. Bend and straighten. That was more than a couple, wasn't it? And last time. And straighten. Nice job. And then straighten the front leg. Maybe bring that back leg in a little bit. Like I want to shorten my stance so I can go into pyramid. A little shorter stance. Square your hips. Ground your back leg. That heel goes down. The front knee could soften. Hands could stay on the hips. Could go, could go behind the back. Could be at the heart or on your front thigh. I always love this one. And then hinge forward. Lengthening your torso. Grounding the back leg. Getting a stretch in the front leg as much as you're able. And then take your pyramid pose wherever that is for you today. Grounding that back heel. Engaging the front of your leg. So again, the more that we engage the front of our leg, the quadriceps that support the knee, the more the back of that leg can release. And keep lengthening your torso. Get it, thinking that energetically, you're drawing your head toward your toe. So you're really lengthening, you're melting your heart here into this pose. Take one more breath. And then on the next inhale, let's bend our front knee. Plant the back foot at a 45-degree angle. So you find your warrior legs, windmill all the way up to warrior two. Good. Nice. And find your nice warrior two. Okay. Now let's make sure that we're really engaging the front leg and keeping our knees safe. So let's lift our heel a little bit. Lift that front heel. Goodness, this is nice for the calf. You're like, oh yeah. And then draw the knee towards the pinky toe side of the foot. Keep that knee there. Lower the heel down. Good. Try that one more time. Lift the heel. Draw that knee out. And then lower the heel. That'll hopefully adjust the placement of that leg. Engage your arms. Yeah, look down the middle finger of your front hand. Relaxing shoulders. Inhale here. Exhale, reverse the warrior. So lower the right arm down. Reminding the back of the right leg to engage. Left arm reaches up and back. Maybe even lunge a little deeper with that front leg. Taking one more breath here. And then rising back up into our warrior two. Sinking a little deeper. And then straighten the front leg. Good. Getting ready for triangle pose. Now let's make sure we're engaging the back leg because often in these standing poses, neither leg are really very, very active. A lot of times we're just kind of in the shape and not engaging our legs as much as we could. So, as soon as I said that, I re-engaged my quadricep of my front leg. So think about that. Engage that front leg so that you feel your kneecap lift. Ground that pinky toe down and feel the upper leg and the lower leg are active here. Now let's fire up the back leg too. So bend the back knee to the point that the heel lifts off again. Just a little lift, don't worry, you don't have to lose your balance here. Then ground the heel and engage the back of the leg. So do that a couple of times to feel that you're really firing up your back leg, that you're connecting the outside edge of your foot to the earth. All right, so now maybe we feel both legs are much more active. We can lift from our pelvic floor, tone the belly, broad across your chest, arms wide to the side, hinge forward. And then when you can't go anymore, lower the front arm down, back arm up. And find your Trikonasana here. Feel this nice lengthening through the side body, and see if you could even find some length through that under body, keeping both sides of your side waist long and equal rather than rounding. You know what I mean? So keep that length. One more breath here. And then with your strong legs, toned belly, upper arm brings you up, bring your hands onto your hips, and then heel toe the feet in. Heels, toes, come into a standing posture. Into our Tadasana. So adding a standing crunch movement, it'll be like little leg lifts, like almost like we're doing crane. But the idea here is contracting your abdominals in this movement. So when we're ready, we can inhale, send our arms overhead, or Hastasana, and then exhale. You can pull your like the air down, bend your elbows, and pull one leg up. And as you're doing that, really engage your core. Like think about, you're doing a crunch without rounding the spine. And then lower and extend, exhale, lift. Inhale, exhale. And keep going like this a few times. Really draw the navel in. So it's an isometric contraction. One more time each side. And then pause. Now we'll do another round, and you can keep going like that where there's an add-on, so that gets a little cardiovascular. So what we'll do is, and you might want to kind of open up the feet a little bit. So what'll happen is we can go into our Utkatasana and then pull down. Utkatasana, and then stand up and do your pull. So here we go. So really, the major thing here is to get that crunch. Okay, and then the second major thing is to work our legs. So there's two things. And find your own pace. Connecting with your breath. Four more. That's one. Here's the second. Here's three. Last one. And good job. Catch your breath. Nice work. All right. So now we'll go to our quad strengthener on the other side. So I'm going to face this way. Again, you could be sitting in a chair. You could have a wall or a chair handy. Hands could remain on hips, could interlace underneath the leg, or it could just be by your side. So when you're ready, pick up the leg and extend. And then bend. Really focus on strengthening the muscles around the knees. Drawing the toes back. Now, two more. Squeezing, engaging the muscles, bending. Last time. And that's next time the leg is bent, bring your hands onto your hips and then start to hinge forward with your torso. Send that bent leg back. Make a T with your body for your supported warrior, or your warrior three rather, and then extend that lifted leg. Back a little. And then find your optimal warrior three. Let's focus on hips squaring, Inner thigh lifting, toes pointing down. Hands wherever feels comfortable for you. Strong leg, toned belly, long from crown of head to extended leg. And then bend the lifted leg and then straighten it. And bend and straighten and bend and straighten. Last time, bend and straighten, hold it there, and then bend the standing leg, lower the lifted leg, release your arms, Virabhadrasana 1. So find your Vira 1. Wide stance maybe, squaring hips, both legs active, shoulders relaxed. Take a couple breaths here. And then see where you'd like to have your arms come for this lower leg lift, like this lunge variation. So maybe your hands go to prayer, hips, or onto the thigh interlaced. And then we'll bend the back leg a little bit, or maybe like let it tap the earth or almost graze the earth, and then lift. And then lower and lift, engage in the quadriceps, so the front of your leg each time. So lower and lift, and lower and lift, and 2 more, and lift. Last time, and lift. Now straighten your front leg, step in with the back leg, probably if you took a wide warrior 1, square your hips, ground the back leg, and then, honor and soften the front leg as needed. Hands stay on the hips, at heart or behind your back, or even interlaced. Hinge forward till your torso is parallel with your hips, even staying there if that's enough. Or you could melt your heart over that front leg. And breathe here. Primarily engaging the quadricep of the back leg. Letting the heel ground. Melting your heart. Take one more breath here. And then bend your front leg. Step back with the back leg again and open the foot a little bit so you're in your warrior stance, whatever that is for you. And then windmill open warrior 2. Find your warrior 2. Relax shoulders, arms wide to the side. Activate your arms too. It's not just about the legs. The whole body is involved. Even look down the middle finger of your right hand or your front arm. Now just to make sure we've got a good alignment with our front leg and then we have it engaged, let's lift the heel again. Draw the knee towards the pinky toe side of the foot. Lower the heel. Now one more time. Lift the heel. Draw that knee away. Keep it where it is, towards the pinky toe side. Lower the heel. That helps if you have that tendency to collapse the knee in. Take one more breath. And then lower the back arm, left arm up to sky, really reach and lengthen, and reverse your warrior. Breathe into the whole right side body. One more breath. Rising up through the warrior 2, straightening the front leg and engaging the quadricep. Again, making sure the muscles around the knee support. And you'll even notice when you do that, even through leggings, you should be able to see the kneecap lift and track upward. If you don't, if that kneecap draws in, then maybe you're rolling your whole leg in, or you've got some instability, some weakness in your muscles, but maybe you can turn your foot out a little bit. But do it your best to engage the muscles that support the knee, so the kneecap can track, straight. You've got the front of the leg engaged. And now let's focus on firing up the back leg. So bending the back knee so the heel lifts, and then ground the heel, straighten the leg. Do that a few times so that you feel that your hamstring and your calf engage, that the outside edge of your foot grounds. is that we're putting our weight more to the outside edge of the foot, and then it really engages the back of the leg. All right, once you feel that, nice stable legs, toned belly, active arms, tuck the right hip under or your front hip under, reach forward, and then when you can't go anymore, lower the right arm down, left arm up, or top arm up. And finding more length through equal sides, through both side waists. Keep lengthening your torso. Reaching your arms away as much as your legs are grounded and reaching away. Using every part of your body here. Spinning your heart open. Take one more breath, and then feeling your active legs. So you're coming up with leg strength, the upper arm helping you to lift. Hands could come onto the hips. Both toes pivot forward. We can heel toe our feet in, heel toe in, and then we'll finish up with one more balance, a sort of a tiptoe squat that we could take down into down to the earth eventually. All right. So when you're ready, let's take an extended mountain. So start to lift the heels, send your arms out to the sides, up to the sky. We need a little challenging balance, big toes ground. Find your calm, easy breath, your fixed gaze. Good. All right. And now we can lower arms to shoulder height as we bend our knees. So you're going into your Utkatasana, but you're keeping the heels lifted. Now we're gonna go a little lower, so honor your knees and what feels comfortable for you as we go down a little deeper. So can you squat a little deeper, keep your torso upright. And you can go down even deeper, stay in your squat. Now maybe you can even let your heels come together and knees go apart. Go and bring your hands together into a Malasana squat. So find some tiptoe variation for 3 more breaths, 2, 3 more breaths, something. 1 more breath even. Good. Nice, everybody. And then when you're ready to come out, you can just lower your hands down. We're much closer to the earth than we were before. Shift hips and find constructive rest. Or, yeah, sort of, no. I'm not even sure what you call this, but our feet on the earth, knees bent. And then we'll take a block because we're going to use this in a moment. In fact, let's bring the block now on its medium setting. So, maybe this with the medium, but maybe you want to do it on the smallest, up to you. I'm actually doing smallest in between your legs. Keeping the legs really engaged and maybe hips distance apart, feet stay grounded. Lift your torso up so you're nice and long with your torso. And then we can lower ourselves down. So you can just reach your arms forward. You could have your hands at prayer, or you could use your hands on the mat to get down. So when you're ready, we'll start to lower down and just rolling down. 1 vertebra at a time. And breathe. Once you get down. Good. All right. So a basic crunch through all of these abdominal exercises, and generally the ones I choose to do with a group to protect the lower back. We want to keep the low back down. If at any point your low back starts to arch and lift, and especially if there's any pain there, then maybe reduce the effort, modify the sequence or the exercise so that you can keep your low back down and protect the back. All right, so here we go. The low back is pressing down. We're going to bring our hands to the sides of our head, and then we'll crunch up and really rounding the spine. Bringing the chin to the chest, looking down at your belly, squeezing your legs together, and then slowly lower down. You can even arch your back, normally, and then exhale, press the low back down, curl up. So feel as you're doing these curls, what you're working. Ideally, we're working the upper abdominal muscles. Inhaling and exhale, keep squeezing your block. Inhale as you lower. Exhale as you curl up, drawing low belly down. Two more. Last time. And pause and notice how you're feeling now. All right, now we're going to work the low belly. So these kind of like hip lifts, and you'll take your block and bring it between your shins. So bring the block between the shins here if you can. Or you could always keep it between your inner thighs, so you see where it feels comfortable for you. But we want to really activate our legs, arms by our sides. Now, if it's uncomfortable to even hold the block and you find that you need to bend your legs for this, then maybe you can change the position of the block or remove it. So strong, strong legs, like really feel that you're activating your legs here. And then when you're ready, we will lift up. So you're kind of like rolling the lower part of your spine and lifting your hips. So squeezing and lifting. And keep going. So feel like you're contracting your lower abdominals, lifting the legs as high as you can. Using your arms a little bit, but really try to work the low belly. So 4 more. Two more. And last time. Good. Nice. Let's move the block out of the way for a moment. Okay, so this next movement is taken from Pilates. So we're going to work everything. Initially, we'll be working the low belly. Then there'll be an option to add the lift of the chest so that you'll work the upper abdominals. And then we'll be, kind of passing the block between our legs. So that even causes a little bit more of a lift up, so a little bit more of a crunch. So let's see how that goes. Extend your legs to the side. And again, you could keep your legs bent here if need be, but I'm encouraging us to really activate our legs. So you're really creating length in the body. In fact, when I do that, I feel like it causes me to engage my core right away. Press your low back down, arms by your sides for support, palms down. Lower one leg to a place where the low back can stay down, and then switch. So we're basically just switching our legs, scissoring our legs. So keep the other leg up to the sky at 90 degrees as the other one comes down. Now you could even lift your chest here. You could even lift your arms. You could even have your arms by your sides, and you could like sort of pat, like you're waving, tapping the water next to you. And then finally, if you'd like to add your block, what we'll do is as the one leg goes down, you put the block between the lifted leg, and then you keep switching the block between your legs. So keep going, whatever one you chose, whatever variation. Take a break if you need to. Remember, sometimes we need to do a round, recover, and go back. Keep your legs active as best you can. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. And then lower down. Take a pause for a moment. Maybe even let your knees come together, your feet go apart. And notice how you're feeling. And don't even do anything. I mean, beyond this is like a little nice release for the low back. But we always feel like we have to squeeze the knees in or stretch out, and maybe that's what you want, and that's okay. But sometimes it's nice to be with the feeling, whatever is happening, and then let it dissolve. Because as we know, everything is, transitory, so it's going to go away. You don't have to make it want to stop. We can feel it, be with it, and then watch it dissolve. All right. So now let's find our strap, and we'll just do a little stretch out of our legs after all of that leg work. So you can bring your legs back to neutral. Bring your right leg in, and we'll do two different things. We'll try the strap on the heel, and then we'll try it on the ball of the foot. And you can notice the difference. I mean, a lot of times I'll just say whatever works for you, but there is definitely going to be a difference of where you're going to feel the stretch, right? So, generally speaking, I might say if you put that strap on your heel, you may feel more of a stretch in the front of the leg as you pull down on the strap and draw that leg in. If you put that strap towards the ball of your foot, so you only want to have it on one of these bony structures, right? You don't want to have it on the arch. You may feel more of a stretch in the back of the leg as it pulls the toes down more. So do what feels comfortable for you. Where do you need more of a stretch right now? Place the strap in that place. Both ends of the strap go into the opposite hand so that your right arm, the same arm as the lifted leg, can ground down. And breathe here, get a nice stretch. Maybe you like both and you want to just switch halfway through. Keep your opposite leg grounding down. Both feet are active. Both legs are active. Take another breath or two. And then you can bring your extended leg up to meet the lifted leg. Switch your feet in the strap and lower that leg back down. Again, explore where you'd like to place your strap. Again, maybe trying both on each leg if you did. I did. So I'm enjoying both stretches. And really notice the difference. Now take one more breath. And then when you're ready to come out of this, you could put the strap, the end of the strap in each hand, and let the strap in your arms, your support, guide the leg down to the earth. And then you could just let the strap drop. Let your feet drop out. Draw your shoulder blades together. Arms by your sides in a low V. Take an inhale and exhale it out. And notice how you're feeling now. Notice if there's any last stretches that you need right now to sink more comfortably into your Shavasana. But If you're ready for your final relaxation, take a big inhale and exhale it out with a sigh. As you let go of your legs, letting each half of your pelvis ground, your low back soften, your arms, back of your head surrender to the support of the earth. Maybe taking a yawn and parting your jaw. Softening your heart. Taking one more willful inhale. And then on the exhale, even soften your belly and your breath. Resting here for these next few moments so that we can integrate the work that we did, restore our vital energy, and absorb the Shanti, the peace of yoga. Break through your resistance. We sometimes resist new lessons, and what we resist the most is likely to be what we most need to learn. Our lessons usually come with inner conflict. The action we should be taking, the idea we should be learning, is sometimes hidden behind a wall of resistance. There's a border, a barrier we need to cross to get into the heart of the lesson. Most times that barrier is within us. Lessons require us to let go of old feelings, old beliefs. If they didn't, they wouldn't be lessons. We'd already know them. Sometimes the very thing we feel guiltiest about doing, the place we're most resistant to visiting, the person we're most convinced we shouldn't contact, or the behavior we're tormenting ourselves most about, is exactly what we need to be doing. And more often than not, the lesson we're learning is not what we think it is. We need to embrace the surprise element of life, embrace the mystery of life as it unfolds, as the lessons appear, as we grow and change. Do what you need to do to break through your resistance. Often that means simply seeing your resistance for what it is. Remember that the point of greatest resistance is often the place of greatest learning. So allow your breath to deepen. Gently rock your head from side to side. Bring movement to fingers and toes. Sweep your arms overhead, taking a big stretch, tucking chin into chest. Finally stretching out our belly. And then exhale and release. Sweep your arms by your sides, maybe give your legs a squeeze. And then with either bent or straight legs, roll to your right side. Just for a moment. And then use your right arm and left hand to sit up slow, bringing your head up last to a comfortable seat. Just like we began. Grounding through the sits bones, lengthening through crown of head. Bring a little tone to the belly to support the torso. Draw hands together in front of your heart and drop your head into your heart in gratitude. And then we'll lift our gaze and seal our practice by joining our voices in the sound of Om. The divine light in me honors the divine light in you. Namaste.